Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much joining me at Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra and all your friends that are very dedicated to listen to the very authentic teachings based on Vishuddhimagga. So before we start, as usual, we will do the refuge, which is renewal of our faith and belief in the teachings of the Dhamma and friendship with sangha and therefore generate loving kindness and so on to all sentient beings. So we do that first. Oyenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajere Vijay Ladam Bhavachu Hajendala Ajare Buddha Vajuvya Yenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajere Vijay Ladam Bhavachu Hajendala Ajare Buddha Vajuvya. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power of happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power of happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power of happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those near and far. Now we will do the Heart Sutra mantra for a little while on that, reflect on the meaning or whatever you best understand as a meditation. Gade gade barang gade barang gade zodan gade gade barang gade barazam gade 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 barang gade barang tadi dan gade gade barang gade barazam gade zodan gade gade barang gade barazam gade 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 barang gade barazam gade zodan gade gade barang gade barazam gade zodan gade gade barang gade barazam gade tadi dan gade gade barang gade barazam gade zodan gade gade barang gade barazam gade Tadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodo de danga de baranga de barazanga de bodo de danga de baranga de barazanga de Tadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodo de danga de baranga de barazanga de bodo Tadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodo de danga de baranga de barazanga de bodo de danga de baranga Barazanga de bodo de danga de baranga de barazanga de bodo de danga de baranga de barazanga de bodo Tadanga denga de baranga de barazanga de bodo de danga de barang barazanga de bodo. So we are reading the Vishuddhimagga, which is a very important Buddhist text according to Theravada tradition. But actually is widely honored by all Buddhist tradition, as they should, by Buddhagosha. So I will start where we finished off last week. We are on chapter 7, and we are talking about recollection, the 6th recollection. We have done the first recollection of the Buddha, a recollection of Dharma. Today we are starting on page 236, section 89, the recollection of sangha. One who wants to develop the recollection of the community should go into solitary retreat and recollect the special qualities of the community of noble ones as follows. The community of the Blessed One's disciples has entered on the good way. The community of the Blessed One's disciples has entered on the straight way. The community of the Blessed One's disciple has entered on the true way. The community of the Blessed One's disciple has entered on the proper way. And that is to say, the four pairs of men the 8 persons, this community of the Blessed One's disciple is fit for gifts, fit for hospitality, fit for offerings, fit for reverential salutation as an incomparable field of merit for the world. Herein entered on the good way, supatipanna is thoroughly entered on the way. Sutu patipanna, what is meant is that it has entered on a way. Patipanna, that is the right way. Samma patipada, the way that is irreversible, the way that is in conformity with the truth, the way that has no opposition, the way that is regulated by Dhamma. They hear attentively the Blessed One's instruction. Thus, they are his disciples. The community of the disciple is community of these disciples. The meaning is that the total of disciples forms a communality because it possesses in common both virtue and the right view. That right way, being straight, unbent, uncrooked, unwarped, is called noble and true, and is known as the proper, owing to its becomingness. Therefore, the noble community that has entered on that is also said to have entered on the straight way, entered on the true way, and entered on the proper way. Those who stand on the path can be understood to have entered on the good way, since they possess the right way, and those who stand in fruition can be understood to have entered on the good way, with respect to the way that is now past, since by means of the right way they have realized what should be realized. Furthermore, the community has entered on the good way because it has entered on the way according as instructed in the well-proclaimed law and the discipline, Dhamma Vinaya, and because it has entered the immaculate way, it has entered the straight way because it has entered on the way avoiding the true extremes and taking the middle course, and because it has entered on the way to the abandonment of the faults of the bodily and verbal crookedness, tortuousness, and warpedness. It has entered on the true way, because Nibbana is what is called true, and it has entered on the way with that as the aim. It has entered on the proper way because it has entered the way of those who are worthy of proper acts of veneration. The word yadidam, that is to say, yani imani, the 4 pairs of men, taking them pairwise, and one who stands on the first path, and the one who stands on the first fruition as one pair. In this way, there are 4 pairs. The 8 persons taking them by person, the one who stands on the first pair as one who stands in the first fruition as one. In this way, there are 8 persons. And there is the compound Purisha Puggala persons. The word Purisha and Puggala have the same meaning, but it is expressed in the way to suit different susceptibility to teaching. The community of Blessed One's disciples, this community of the Blessed One's disciple, taken by pairs as the 4 pairs of men, Purisha, and individually as the 8 persons, Purisha Puggala. As to fit for gifts, etc., what should be brought and given is a gift. The meaning is what is to be brought even from far away and donated to the virtues. It is a term for the 4 requisites. Community is fit to receive that gift sacrifice because it makes it bear great fruit. Thus, it is fit for gifts. Alternatively, all kinds of property, even when the bringer comes far away from, can be given. Hunittaba. Here, thus the community can be given to ahavaniya, or it is fit to be given by the Shaka and others, thus it can be given too. And the Brahmin, fire is called to be given sacrifice to Ahavaniya, for they believe that what is sacrificed to it brings great fruit. But if something is to be sacrificed for the sake of great fruit brought by what is sacrificed to it, then surely the community should be sacrificed too, for what is sacrificed given to the community has great fruit, according to as it is said. Were anyone to serve fire out in the woods 100 years and pay one moment's homage to the man of self-development, his homage would be by far excel 100 years of sacrifice. And the word Ahavaniya, to be sacrificed to, which is used in the schools, is the name meaning as this word Ahuneya, fit for gifts, used for. There's only the mere trifling difference of syllables. So it is fit for gifts. 96. Fit for hospitality, Pahuneya. So hospitality, Pahuna, is what is donation to visitor is called, prepared with all honors for the sake of dear and beloved relatives and friends who have come from all quarters. But even far more to such object of hospitalities, it is fitting that it should be given also to the community. For there is no object of hospitality so fit to receive hospitality as a community, since its encounter after an interval between Buddhas and possess holy, endearing, and lovable qualities. So it is fit for hospitality, since the hospitality is fit to be given to it and it is fit to receive it. But those who take the text to be Bhavaniya, fit to be given hospitality to, have it that the community is worthy to be placed first, and so what is to be given should first of all be brought here and given sabba pathanam anetva etha nu itabam. And for that reason, it is fit to be given hospitality to Pahu Vaniya, or since it is worthy to be given to all in all aspects, Swabha Pakarena, Avaneha Arahati, it is thus fit to be given hospitality to Paha Vaniya, and here it is called Pahuneya in the same sense. 97. Offering dakina is what a gift is called, what is to be given out of faith in the world to come. The community is worthy of that offering, or it is helpful to that offering because it purifies it by making it of great fruit. Thus it is fit for offering dakineya. It is worthy of being accorded by the whole world the reverential salutation, Anjali Kama, consisting in placing with both hands palms together above the head. Thus it is fit for reverential salutation, Anjali Karineya. 98. As an incomparable field of merit for the world, as a place without equal in the world for growing merit, just as the place for growing the king's or a minister's rice or corn is the king's rice field or the king's corn field, so the community is the place for growing the whole world's merit. For the worlds of various kinds of merit leading to welfare and happiness grow with the community as their support. Therefore, the community is an incomparable field of merit for the world. As long as he collects the special qualities of the sangha in this way, class as having entered on the good way, etc., and then on that occasion his mind is not obsessed by greed or obsessed by hate or obsessed by delusion. His mind has rectitude on that occasion, being inspired by the sangha. So, when he has suppressed the hindrances in the way already described, the jhana factors rise in the single community's special qualities, or else, owing to his being occupied in recollecting special qualities of many sorts, the jhana is only access and does not reach absorption. And that access jhana itself is known as the recollection of the sangha, too, because it arises with the recollection of the community's special qualities as the means. When a bhikshu is devoted to his recollection of the community, he is respectful and deferential towards the community. He attains fullness of faith, and so on. He has much happiness and bliss. He conquers fear and dread. He is able to endure pain. He comes to feel as if he were living in the community's presence, and his body, when the recollection of the Sangha's special quality dwells in it, becomes as worthy of veneration as an uposatha house where the community has met. His mind tends towards the attainment of the community's special qualities. When he encounters an opportunity for transgression, he has awareness of conscience and shame as vividly as if were face to face with the community. And if he penetrates no higher, he is at least headed for a happy destiny. Now, when a man is truly wise, his constant task will surely be this recollection of the Sangha, blessed with such mighty potency. This is the section dealing with the recollection of the community in the detailed explanation. So that concludes the third recollection. Now the fourth recollection is recollection of virtue. 101. One who wants to develop recollection virtue should go into solitary retreat and recollect his own different kinds of virtue in their special qualities of being untorn, etc., as follows. Indeed, my various kinds of virtue are untorn, unrent, unblotched, unmottled, liberating, praised by the wise, not adhered to, and conducive to concentration. As a layman should recollect them in the form of layman's virtue, while one gone forth into homelessness should recollect them in the form of virtue of those gone forth. 102. Whether there are virtues of laymen or of those gone forth, when no one of them is broken in the beginning or in the end, not being torn like a cloth ragged at the in the ends, then they are untorn. When no one of them is broken in the middle, not being rent like a cloth that is punctured in the middle, then they are unrent. When they are not broken twice or thrice in succession, not being blotched like a cow whose body is some such color as black or red, with a discrepant colored oblong or round patch appearing on her back or belly, then they are unblotched. When they are not broken all over at intervals, not being mottled like a cow, speckled with discrepant color spots, then they are unmottled. Or in general, they are unborn, untorn, unrent, unblotched, unmottled, when they are undamaged by the 7 bonds of sexuality and by anger and enmity as the other evil things. 104. Those same virtues are liberating, since they liberate by freeing from the slavery of craving. They are praised by the wise because they are praised by such wise men as enlightened ones. They are not adhered to abharamatha, since they are not adhered to abharamattha with craving and false view, or because of the impossibility of misapprehending paramatham, that there is this law of your virtue. They are conducive to concentration, since they conduce to access concentration and absorb concentration, or to path concentration and fruition concentration. 105. As long as he recollects his own virtues, in their special qualities of being untorn, etc., in this way, then on that occasion, his mind is not obsessed by greed, or obsessed by hate, or obsessed by delusion. His mind has rectitude on that occasion, being inspired by virtue. So, when he has suppressed the hindrances in the way already described, the jhana factor arises in a single virtue, special qualities, or owing to his being occupied by recollecting special qualities on many sorts. The jhana is only access, nor does it reach absorption. And that access jhana itself is known as a recollection of virtue, too, because it arises with the virtue, special qualities, as the means. And when a bhikkhu is devoted to this recollection of virtue, he has respect for the training. He lives in communion with his fellows in the life of purity. He is sedulous in welcoming. He is devoid of fear of self-reproach, and so on. He sees fear in the slightest fault. He attains fullness of faith, and so on. He has much happiness and gladness, and he penetrates no higher. He is at least headed for a happy destiny. Now, when a man is truly wise, his constant task will surely be this recollection of his virtue, blessed with such a mighty potency. This is the section dealing with the recollection of virtue in the detailed explanation. Now the fifth is recollection of generosity, 107. One who wants to develop the recollection of generosity should be naturally devoted to generosity and the constant practice of giving and sharing. Or alternatively, if he is one who is starting with the development of it, he should make the resolution. From now on, when there is anyone present to receive, I shall not eat even a single mouthful without having given a gift. And that very day he should give a gift by sharing according to his means and his ability with those who have distinguished qualities. And when he has apprehended the sign in that, he should go into solitary retreat and recollect his own generosity in the special qualities of being free from stains of avarice, etc., as follows. It is a gain for me, it is great gain for me, that in the generation obsessed by the stain of avarice, I abide by my heart, free from stain by avarice, and am freely generous and open-handed, that I delight in relinquishing, expect to be asked, and rejoice in giving and sharing. 108. Herein it is a gain for me. It is my gain advantage. The intention is I surely partake of those kinds of gain, or a giver that have been commended by the Blessed One as follows. A man who gives life by giving food shall have life either divine or human. And a giver is loved and frequented by many, and one who gives is ever loved according to the wise man's law, and so on. 109. It is great gain for me. It is great gain for me that this dispensation or the human state has been gained by me. Why? Because of the fact that I abide with my mind, free from stain by avarice, and rejoice in giving and sharing. Herein, obsessed by the stain of avarice is overwhelmed by the stain of avarice. Generation being so-called owing to the fact of being generated. So the meaning here is this. Among beings who are overwhelmed by the stain of avarice, which is one of the dark states that corrupt the natural transparency of the consciousness, and which has the characteristic of inability to bear sharing one's own good fortune with others. 111. Free from stain by avarice, because of being free both from avarice and free from the other stains, greed, hate, and the rest. I abide with my heart. I abide with my consciousness of the kind already stated, is the meaning. But in the sutta, I live in some home life with my heart free, etc., is said because it was taught there as the mental abiding on dependent on constantly to Mahanama and Shakyan, who was stream enterer, asking about an abiding to depend on. There the meaning is I live overcoming. 112. Freely generous, literally generous, open-handed, with hands that are purified. What is meant is with hands that are always washed in order to give gifts carefully with one's own hands. That I delight in relinquishing, the act of relinquishing, vassajjana, is a relinquishing, vassajja, the meaning is giving up. To delight in relinquishing is to delight in constant devotion to that relinquishing. Expect to be asked, yoga, accustomed to being asked, because of being whatever others ask for is the meaning. Yoga is a reading, in which case the meaning is devoted yutta to sacrifice, yoja, in other words, sacrificing yojana. And rejoice in sharing, the meaning is he recollects thus, I give gifts and I share out what is to be used by myself and rejoice in both. So as long as he collects his own generosity in its special qualities of freedom from stain by avarice, etc., in this way then, on that occasion, his mind is not obsessed by greed or obsessed by hate or obsessed by delusion. His mind has rectitude on that occasion, being inspired by generosity. So, when he has suppressed the hindrances in the way already described, the jhana factor arises in a single conscious moment. But owing to the profundity of the generosity special qualities, or owing to his being occupied in recollecting generosity special qualities of many sorts, the jhana is only access and does not reach absorption. And that access jhana itself is known as recollection of generosity too, because it arises from the generosity special qualities as the means. 114. And when a bhikshu is devoted to his recollection of generosity, he becomes ever more intent on generosity. His preference is for non-greed. He acts in conformity with loving kindness. He is fearless. He has much happiness and gladness, and if he penetrates no higher, he is at least headed for a happy destiny. Now, when a man is truly wise, his constant task will surely be this recollection of his giving, blessed with such mighty potency. This is the section dealing with the recollection of generosity in the detailed explanation. The sixth recollection is recollection of deities, 115. One who wants to develop recollection of a deity should possess special qualities of faith, etc., evoked by means of noble path, and he should go into solitary retreat and recollect his own special qualities of faith, etc., with the deity standing as witness as follows. There are deities in the realm of the four kings. There were Chatu Maharajika. There are deities in the realm of 33. There were Tawatimsha. There are the deities who are gone to the divine bliss, Yama, are contented to Shita, delight in creating Narati, willed power over others' creation, para nimitta vasavati. They are deities of Brahma's retinue, Brahmakaika. They are deities higher than that, and those deities who were possessed of faith, such that on dying here they were reborn there, and such faith is present in me too. And those deities are possessed of virtue, of learning, of generosity, of understanding, such that they died here when they were reborn there, and such understanding is present in me too. 116. In the suttas, however, it is said, on the occasion, Mahanama, on which a noble disciple recollects the faith, the virtue, in learning, the generosity and understanding, they are both his own and those deities. On that occasion, his mind is not obsessed by greed. Although this is said, it should be nevertheless be understood as said for the purpose of showing that the special qualities of faith, etc., in oneself are those in the deities, making the deities stand as witnesses. For it is said definitely in the commentary, he recollects his own special quality, making the deities stand as witnesses. 117. As long as in the prior stage he recollects the deities, special qualities of faith, etc., and in the later stage he recollects the special qualities of faith, etc., existing in himself, then on that occasion his mind is not obsessed by greed, or obsessed by hate, or obsessed by delusion. His mind has rectitude on that occasion, being inspired by the deities. So, when he has suppressed the hindrances in the way already stated, the jhana factor arises in a single conscious moment. But owing to the profundity of the special qualities of faith, etc., or owing to his being occupied in recollecting special qualities of many sorts, jhana is only access and does not reach absorption. And that access jhana itself is known as recollection of deities too, because it arises with the deities' special qualities as the means. And when a bhikkhu is devoted to this recollection of deities, he becomes dearly loved by deities. He obtains even gratefulness of faith. He has much happiness and gladness, and if he penetrates no higher, he is at least headed for a happy destiny. Now, when a man is truly wise, his constant task will surely be the recollection of deities, blessed with such a mighty potency. This is the section dealing with the recollection of deities in the detailed explanation. The general, 119. Now, in setting forth the detail of this recollection, after the words, his mind has rectitude on that occasion, being inspired by the Perfect One, it is added, when a noble disciple's mind has rectitude, Mahanama, the meaning inspires him, the law inspires him, and the application of the law makes him glad. And when he is glad, happiness is born in him. Herein the meaning inspires him should be understood as said of contentment, inspired by the meaning beginning, this blessed one is such since he is. The law inspire him is said of contentment, inspired by the text. The application of the law makes him glad is said of both. 120. And when in the case of recollection of deities inspired by deities is said, this should be understood as said either of the consciousness that occurs in the prior stage inspired by deities, or of the consciousness that occurs in the later stage, inspired by the special quality that are similar to those of the deities and are productive of the deity state. These 6 recollections succeed only in noble disciples, for the special qualities of the enlightened one, the law, and the community are evident to them, and they possess the virtues with the special qualities of untornness, etc., the generosity that is free from stain by avarice, and the special qualities faith, etc., similar to those of deities. 122, and in the Mahanamma Sutta, they are expounded in detail by the Blessed One in order to show to a stream enterer an abiding to depend upon when he asks for one. 129. Also in the Geda Sutta, they are expounded in order that a noble disciple should purify his consciousness by means of the recollection and so attain further purification in the ultimate sense. Thus, here bhikshus, a noble disciple recollects the perfect one in this way. The Blessed One is such since he is accomplished. His mind has rectitude on that occasion. He has renounced, got free from, emerged from cupidity. Cupidity, because it is a term for 5 codes of sense desire. Some beings gain purity here by making them collection of their prop. And in the Samba Do Kasaka Sutta, taught by the Venerable Mahakachana, they are expounded as the realization of the wide open wide open through the susceptibility of purification that exists in the ultimate sense only in a noble disciple. Thus, it is wonderful, friends, it is marvelous how the realization of the wide open in the crowded house life has been discovered by the Blessed One, who knows and sees, accomplished, the fully enlightened, for the purification of beings, for the surmounting of sorrow and lamentation, for the ending of pain and grief, for the attainment of the true way, for the realization of Nibbana, that is to say, the 6th station of recollection. What 6? Here, friends, noble disciple recollect the perfect one. Some beings are susceptible to purification here in this way. Also, in the Uposatha Sutta, they are expounded in order to show the greatness of the fruit of the Uposatha as a mind-purifying meditation subject for a noble disciple who is observing the Uposatha. And what is the noble one's Uposatha Visakha? It is the gradual cleansing of the mind still sullied by imperfection. And what is the gradual cleansing of the mind still sullied by imperfection? Here, Vasaka, a noble disciple recollects the perfect one. 126. And in the Book of Elevens, when a noble disciple has asked, Venerable Sir, in what way should we abide who abide various ways? They are expounded to him in order to show the way of abiding in this way. The one who has faith is successful, Manama, not one who has no faith. One who is energetic, one whose mindfulness is established, one who is concentrated, one who has understanding is successful, Manamam, not one who has no understanding. Having established yourself in these 5 things, Manama, you should develop 6 things. Here, the Manama, you should recollect the perfect one. That blessed one is such sins. 127. Still, though this is so, they can be brought to mind by an ordinary man too, if he possess the special qualities of purified virtue and the rest. For when he is recollecting the special qualities of Buddha, etc., even only according to the hearsay, his consciousness settled down in virtue of which the hindrances are suppressed. In his supreme gladness, he initiates insight, and he even attains the arhatship, like the elder Pusadeva who dwelt at Katakandakara. That venerable one, it seems, saw a figure of the enlightened one created by Maras. He thought, how good this appears despite its having greed, hate, and delusion. What can the Blessed One's goodness have been like? For he was quiet without greed, hate, and delusion. He inquired happiness with the Blessed One as object, and by augmenting his insight, he reached arhatship. The 7th chapter, called Description of Sixth Recollection, in the treatise on the development of concentration, in the path of purification Vishuddhimagga, composed for the purpose of gladdening good people. So that concludes chapter 7. Now we move to chapter 8, Description of concentration, the other recollection, as meditation subject. So, number 7, recollection of death. Now comes this description of the development of mindfulness of death, which was listed next. Definition. Here in death, marana, is the interruption of the life faculty, included within the limits of single becoming existence. But death as termination, cutting off, in other words. The arhat's termination of the suffering of the round is not intended here, nor is momentary death, in other words, the momentary delusion of formation, nor the death of unconventional metaphorical usage is such expression as dead tree, dead metal, and so on. 2. As intended here is of two kinds, that is to say, timely death and untimely death. Herein, timely death comes about with the exhaustion of merit or exhaustion of lifespan or both. Untimely death comes through the karma that interrupts other life-producing karma. 3. Herein, death through exhaustion of merit is a term for the kind of death that comes about only owing to the result of former rebirth-producing karmas having finished ripening, although favorable condition for the prolonging the life continue of lifespan may still be present. Death through exhaustion of lifespan is a term for the kind of death that comes about owing to the exhaustion of the normal lifespan of man of today, which measures only a century owing to want of such excellence in destiny as the deities have, or in the time as there is at the beginning of the eon, or in the nutriment as the Uttarakuru and so on have. Untimely death is a term for the death of those whose continuity is interrupted by karma capable of causing them to fall from their place at that very moment, as in the case of Dusimara, Kalabujara, etc., or for the death of these whose continuity is interrupted by assaults with weapons, etc., due to previous karma, and all these are included under the interruption of the life faculty of the kinds already stated. So mindfulness death is the remembering of death, in other words, of the interruption of life faculty. Development. Number 4. One who wants to develop this should go into solitary retreat and exercise attention wisely. In this way, death will take place, the life faculty will be interrupted, or death. Number 5, if he exercises his attention unwisely in recollecting the possible death of an agreeable person, sorrow arises, as in a mother on recollecting the death of her beloved child she bore, and gladness arises in recollecting death of a disagreeable person, or in enemies on recollecting the death of their enemies, and no sense of urgency arises on recollecting the death of a neutral person, or as happens in a corpse burner on seeing a dead body, and anxiety arises on recollecting one's own death, as happens to a timid person on seeing murderer with a poised dagger. In all that there is neither mindfulness nor a sense of urgency nor knowledge. So he should look here and there at beings that have been killed or have died, and advert to the death of beings already dead, but formally seeing enjoying good things, doing so with mindfulness, with a sense of urgency and with knowledge, after which he can exercise his attention in the way beginning death will take place. By so doing, he exercises it wisely. He exercises it as a right means is the meaning. Number 7, when some exercise is it merely in this way, their hindrances get suppressed, their mindfulness become established with the death as a object, and the meditation subject reaches access. 8 ways of recollecting death. Number 8, but one who finds that it does not get so far should do his recollecting of death in 8 ways. That is to say, 1, as having an appearance of a murderer. 2, as the ruin of success. 3, by comparison. 4, as to sharing the body with many. 5, as to the frailty of life. 6, as the signless. 7, as to limitedness of the extent. And 8, as to the shortness of the moment. So, number 1, herein, as having the appearance of a murderer, he should do this recollecting thus. Just as a murderer appears with a sword, thinking, I shall cut this man's head off, and applies to it his neck, so death appears. Why? Because it comes with birth and it takes away life. 10. As budding toadstools always come up lifting dust on their tops, so beings are born along with aging and death. So accordingly, the rebirth linking consciousness reaches aging, immediately next to its arising, then breaks up together with its associate aggregates, like a stone that falls from the summit of a rock. So too, begin with momentary death, comes along with birth. But death is inevitable for what is born. Consequently, the kind of death intended here also comes along with birth. Therefore, just as the risen sun moves on towards in setting and never turns back even for a little while from wherever it has got to, or just as a mountain torrent sweeps by with a rapid current, ever flowing and rushing on and never turning back, even the little while, so too this living being travels on towards death from the time when he is born, and he never turns back even for a little while. Hence it is said, right from the very day man has been conceived inside a womb, he cannot but go on and on, never going can once turn back. 12. And while he goes on, thus death is as near to him as drying up is to rivulets in the summer heat, as falling is to the fruits of trees when the sap reaches their attachment in the morning, as breaking is to clay pots tapped in a mullet, as vanishing is to dewdrops touched by the sun rays. Hence it is said, the night and days go sleeping by, a life keeps dwindling steadily, till mortals span like water pools in failing rills is all used up. As there is fear when fruits are ripe, that in the morning they will fall, so mortals are the constant fear when they are born that they will die. And as the fate of pots of clay, once fashioned by the potter's hand, or small or big or baked or raw, condemns them to be broken up, so mortal's life leads but to death. The dewdrop on the blade of grass vanishes when the sun comes up. Such is the man's span of life. So, mother, do not hinder me. Number 13. So is death, which comes along with birth, is like a murderer with poised sword, and like a murderer who applies the sword to the neck, it carries off life and never returns, bring it back. That is why, since death appears like a murderer with poised sword, owing to its coming along with birth and carrying of life, it should be recollected as having the appearance of a murderer. 2. As the ruin of success. Here success shines as long as failure does not overcome it, and the success does not exist that might endure out of reach of failure. Accordingly, he gave with a joy of 100 million after conquering all the earth, till in the end his realm came down to less than half a gallnut's worth. Yet when his merit was used up, his body breathing its last breath, the sorrowless Ashoka too felt sorrow face to face with death. Furthermore, all health ends in sickness, all youth ends in aging, all life ends in death, all worthy existence is procured by death, haunted by aging, surprised by sickness, and struck down by death. Hence it is said, as though huge mountains made of rock, so vast they reach up to the sky, were to advance from every side, grinding beneath them all that lives, so age and death roll all over. Warriors, priests, merchants, and craftsmen, the outcasts and the scavengers, crashing all beings, sparing none, and here no troops of elephants, no charioteers, no infantry, no strategy in forms of spells, no riches serve to beat them off. This is how death should be recollected as the ruin of success, by defining it as death's final ruining of life's success. 3. By comparison. By comparing oneself to others. Herein, death should be recollected by comparison in 7 ways. That is to say, with those of great fame, with those of great merit, with those of great strength, with those of great supernatural power, and with those of great understanding, with the Pratyeka Buddhas, and with fully enlightened Buddhas. How? Those, although Mahanama, Mandata, Mahasudasa, Dalbhavani, Nimi, etc., were greatly famous and had a great following, and though they had amassed enormous wealth, yet death inevitably caught up with them at length, so how shall it not at length overtake me? Great kings like Mahasamata, whose fame did spread so mightily, all fell into death's power too. What can be said of those like me? It should be recollected in this way, firstly by comparison with those of great fame. How by comparison with those with great merit? Jyotika, Jatila, Uga, and Mandaka and Punaka. These the world said, and others too, did live most meritoriously. Yet they come to one and fall to death, all to death. What can be said of those like me? It should be recollected in this way by comparison with those of great merit. How by comparison with those of great strength? Vasudeva, Valadeva, Bhimasena, Yudhita Tila, and Chanura, the wrestler, were in exterminator's power. Throughout the world they were renowned as blessed with strength so mightily. They too went to the realm of death. What can be said of those like me? It should be recollected in this way by comparison with those with great strength. 20. How by comparison with those of great supernormal power? The second of the chief disciples, the foremost in miraculous powers, who with the point of his great toe did rock Vijayantha's palace towers. Like a deer in a lion's jaw, he too, despite tremendous miraculous potency, fell in the dreadful jaws of death. What else is said of those like me? It should be recollected in this way by comparison with these of great supernormal powers. 21. How by comparison with those with a great understanding? The first of the true chief disciples did so excel in wisdom's art that, save the helper of the world, no being is worth his 16th part. But though so great was Shariputra's understanding faculty, he fell into death's power too. What can be said of those like me? It should be recollected in this way, comparison with those with great understanding. 22. How by comparison with Pratyeka Buddhas, even those who, by the strength of their own knowledge and energy, crush all the enemy defilements and reach enlightenment for themselves, who stood alone like the horn of the rhinoceros, who were self-perfected, were still not free from death. So how should I be free from it? To help them in their own search of truth, the sages various signs employed. Their knowledge brought them self-perfection. Their cankers were at length destroyed. Like the rhinoceros' horn, they lived alone in constancy, but death they could no wise evade. But what can be said of those like me? It should be recollected in the way by comparison with the Pratyeka Buddhas. 23. How by comparison with the fully enlightened Buddhas? Even the Blessed One, whose immaterial body was embellished with the 80 lesser details and adorned with the 32 marks of a great man, whose Dhamma body brought to perfection the treasure quality of the aggregate of virtue, etc., made pure in every aspect, who surpassed greatness of fame, greatness of merit, greatness of strength, greatness of supernormal powers, and greatness of understanding, who has no equal, who was the equal of those without equal, without double, with accomplished and fully accomplished. Even he was suddenly quenched by a downpour of death rain, as the great mass of fire is quenched by the downpour of a rain of water. And so the greatest sage possessed such a mighty power in every way, and it was not through fear or guilt that over him death held his way. No being, not even one without guilt or pusillanimity, but will be smitten down. So how will he not conquer those like me? It would be recollected in this way by comparison with the fully enlightened Buddha. 24. When he does this, he is recollecting in this way by comparison himself with others possessed of such great fame, etc., in the habit of universality of death, thinking death will come to me even as I did to those distinguished beings, then his meditation subject reaches access. This is how death should be recollected by comparison. 25. 4. As to the sharing of the body with the many. The body is shared by many. Firstly, it is shared by 80 families of worms. These there too, creatures like live in dependence on the outer skin, feeding on the outer skin. Creatures live on dependence on the inner skin, feeding on the inner skin. Creatures live in the dependence on the flesh, feeding on the flesh. Creatures live on the dependence on the sinews, feeding on the sinews. creatures live in dependence on the bones, feeding on the bones. The creatures live in abundance on the marrow, feeding on the marrow. And then they are born, grow old, and die, evacuate, and make water. And the body is their maternity home, their hospital, their charnel ground, their priory, and their urinal. The body can also be brought to death with the upsetting of these worms. And just as it is shared with the 80 families of worms, so too it is shared by the several hundred internal diseases, such as by such external causes of death as snakes, scorpions, and what's not. 26. And just as when a target is set up at the crossroads, and when arrows, spears, spikes, and stones, etc., come from all directions and fall upon it, so too all kinds of accidents befall the body. And it also comes to death through these accidents falling on. Hence the Blessed One said, "Here, bhikshus, when day is departing and the night drawing on, a bhikshu consider thus: in many ways I can risk death. A snake may bite me, a scorpion might sting me, or a centipede may sting me. I may die of that, and that would set me back. Or I might stumble and fall, or the food I have eaten might disagree with me, or my bile might get upset, or my fam may get upset, and all the forces, winds in my limbs might get upset, and sever my joints as it were like knives. I might die of that, and that would get me back." This is how death should be recollected as sharing of the body with many. Number 5, as to the frailty of the body. This body is impotent and frail. For the life of beings is bound up by the breathing, and it is bound up with the postures, it is bound up with the cold and heat, it is bound up with the primary channels, and it is bound up with the nutriments. Life occurs only when the in-breaths and out-breaths occur evenly, but when the wind in the nostrils that has gone outside does not go in again, or when that which has gone inside does not come out again, then a man is reckoned to be dead. And it occurs only when the 4 postures of the found occurring evenly, but when the prevailing of the one of them of life process is interrupted. And it occurs only when the cold and heat are found occurring evenly, but it fails when a man is overcome by excessive cold or heat. And it occurs only when the 4 primary elements are found occurring evenly, but in the disturbance of the earth element, even a strong man's life can be terminated if his body becomes rigid, or with the disturbance of the one of the elements beginning with water, if he becomes flaccid, or purified with the flux of bowels, etc., or if he is consumed by a bad fever, or if he suffers a severing of his limb joints, ligatures. And life occurs only in one who gets physical nutriment at the proper time, but if he gets none, he uses his lives up. This is how death should be recollected due to the frailty of life. 6. As signless, as undefinable. The meaning is that it is unpredictable, for it is the cause of all beings. The lifespan, the sickness, the time and where the body will be laid, the destiny. The body world can never know these things. There is no sign foretells when they will be. 30. Herein, firstly, the span has no sign, because there is no definition as such, just as so much must be lived, no more than that. For beings die in in various stages of the embryo, namely at the time of Kokala or Abuddha or Pesi of the Ghana, at 1 month gone, 2 months gone, 3 months gone, 4 months gone, 5 months gone, then 10 months gone, and on the occasion of coming out of the womb. And after that, they die this side or other of the century. And the sickness has no sign, because there is no definition such as beings die only this sickness, not of any other. For beings die of eye disease, or of any one among the beginning with ear disease, etc. And the time has no sign, because there is no definition such as one who has to die only at this time, not any other. For beings die in the morning, or at the time of the other times, such as noon. And where the body will die laid down has no sign, because there is no definition as such. When people die, they must drop the bodies only there, not elsewhere, not anywhere else. For the person of those born inside a village is dropped outside the village, and that of those born outside the village is dropped inside it. Likewise, that of those born in the water is dropped on the land, and that of those who born on the land on water. And these can be multiplied in many ways. 34. And the destiny has no sign, because there is no definition such as one who dies, there must be reborn here. For there are some who die in a divine world, and reborn in the human world. There are some who die in the human world and are born in the divine world, and so on. And in this way, the world goes round and round, 5 counts of destiny, like an ox harness on a machine. This is how death should be recollected as signless. Number 7. As to the limitedness of the extent of human life is short now. The one who lives long lives 100 years, more or less. Hence the Blessed One said, Bhikshus, this human lifespan is short. There is a new life to be gone to. There are profitable deeds to be done. There is the life of purity to be led. There is no not dying for the born. He who lives long lives 100 years, more or less. The life of humankind is short. Wise men's holds is in a contempt, and act as one whose head is burning. Death will never fail to come. And he said thus, Bhikshus, there was once a teacher called Araka, all of which sutta should be given in full, adorned as it is with 7 similes. 36. And he said further, Bhikshus, when a bhikshu develops mindfulness death, thus, oh, let me live a night and day, that I may attend to the Blessed One's teaching. Surely much could be done by me. And when a bhikshu develops mindfulness death, thus, oh, let me live a day, that I may attend to the Blessed One's teaching. Surely such could be done by me. And when a bhikshu develops mindfulness death, thus, oh, let me live as long as it takes to eat a meal, and I may attend to the Enlightened One's teaching. Surely such could be done by me. And when bhikshu develop mindfulness of death thus, oh, let me live as long as it takes to chew and swallow 4 or 5 mouthfuls, that I may attend to the Blessed One's teaching, surely much could be done by me. These are called bhikshus who dwell on negligence and slackly develop mindfulness of death for the destruction of cankers. 37. And bhikshus, when a bhikkhu develop mindfulness of death thus, oh, let me live for as long as it takes to chew and swallow a single mouthful, that I may attend to the Blessed One Blessed One's teaching, surely much could be done by me. And when a bhikkhu develops mindfulness of death thus, let me live as long as it takes to breathe in and breathe out, or as long as it takes to breathe out and breathe in, that which I may attend to the Blessed One's teaching, surely much could be done by me. These are called bhikshus who dwell in the diligence of keenly develop mindfulness of death for the destruction of cankers. So short, in fact, is the extent of life that it is not certain even for as long as it takes to chew or swallow 4 or 5 mouthfuls. This is how death should be recollected as to the limitedness of the extent. 8. As to the shortness of the moment. In the ultimate sense, the life moment of living beings is extremely short. Beings only as much as the occurrence of the single conscious moment, just as the chariot wheel, when it is rolls, that is, touches the ground only one point of the circumference of its tire, and when it is rests only on one point. So too the life of sentient beings lasts only for a single conscious moment. When that consciousness has ceased, the being is said to have ceased, according to it is said. In a past conscious moment he did live, not he does live, nor he will live. In a future conscious moment, nor did he live, nor does he live, nor he will live. In the present conscious moment, not he did live, nor he does not live, nor he will live. Life, person, pleasure, pain, just as these alone, join in one conscious moment that flicks by, sees aggregates of those dead and alive, are alike gone never to return. So, no world is born if consciousness is not produced. When that is present, then it lives. When consciousness dissolves, the world is dead. The highest sense of concept will follow. This is how death should be recollected as to the shortness of the moment. Conclusion 40. So while he is recollecting by means of one or other these 8 ways, his consciousness acquires the support of repetition owing to the reiterated attention. Mindfulness settled down with death as a subject. Hindrances are suppressed and the jhana factors make their appearance. But since the object is states with the individual essences, and since it awakes sense of urgency, the jhana does not reach absorption and is only accessed. Now, with special development of the supermundane jhanas, and the second and the fourth immaterial jhana reached absorption, even with respect to states with individual essences. For the supermundane reaches absorption by means of a progressive development of purification, and the immaterial jhana do so by means of development consisting of the surmounting of the object. Since there is in those immaterial jhanas, there is merely a surmounting of the object of jhana that had already reached absorption. But here in the mundane mindfulness of death, there is neither, so jhana only reaches access, and that access is known as mindfulness of death too, since it arises through its means. A bhikshu devoted to the mindfulness of death is constantly diligent. He acquires perception of disenchantment with all kinds of becoming. He conquers attachment to life. He condemns evil. He avoids such storing. He has no stain of avarice about requisites. Perception of impermanence grows in him, following upon which there appears a perception of pain and not self. But while beings who have not developed mindfulness of death fall victims to fear, horror, and confusion at the time of death, as though suddenly seized by wild beasts, spirits, snakes, robbers, or murderers. He dies undeluded and fearless without falling into any such state. And if he does not attain deathless here and now, he is at least headed for a happy destiny on the breaks up of the body. Now, when a man is truly wise, his constant task will surely be this recollection about death, blessed with such mighty potency. This is the section dealing with the recollection of death in a detailed explanation. 42. Mindfulness occupied with body. Now comes the description of the development of mindfulness occupied with the body as a meditation subject, which is never promulgated except for an enlightened one's arising and is outside the province of any sectarians. It has been commended by the Blessed One in various ways in different suttas. Bhikshus, when one is developed and repeatedly practiced, it leads to a supreme sense of urgency, to supreme benefit, to supreme success of bondage, to supreme mindfulness and full awareness, to acquisition of knowledge and vision, to a happy life here and there, no realization of the fruit or clear visions and deliverance. What is that one thing? It is mindfulness occupied with the body, and thus bhikshus, the savior deathless, who savior mindfulness occupied within the body. They do not savior the deathless who do not savor mindfulness occupied with the body. They have severed the deathless who has severed mindfulness occupied with the body. They have not severed. They have neglected. They have not neglected. They have missed. They have found the deathless, they who have found mindfulness occupied with the body. And it has been described in 14 sections in passage beginning with, and how development bhikshus, how repeatedly practice in the mindfulness occupied with the body of a great fruit, of a great benefit. Here bhikshus gone to the forest, that is to say, the section on breathing, on postures, on 4 kinds of full awareness, on attention directed to repulsiveness, on attention directed to elements, and on 9 channel grounds contemplation. Herein, the 3, that is to say, the sections on postures, on the 4 kinds of full awareness, and on attention directed to elements, or they are stated in that sutra, deal with insight. Then the 9 sections on the channel grounds contemplation, as stated above, deal with that particular phase of insight knowledge called contemplation of danger, and any development of concentration in the floated, etc., that might be implied there has already been explained the description of the foulness. So there are only the 2, that is section on breaking and on directing attention to repulsiveness, that is stated above, deal with concentration. Of these 2, the section on breathing is a separate meditation subject, namely meditation of breathing. Text 44. What is intended here as mindfulness occupied with the body is the 32 aspect. This meditation subject is taught as the direction of intention on repulsiveness that, again bhikshus, the bhikshu reviews his body, up from the soles of the feet, down from the top of the hairs, and contained in the skin, full of many kinds of filth. Thus, in this way, there are body head hairs, bodily hairs, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidney, heart, liver, midriff, spleen, lights, bowels, entrails, gorge, dung, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, spittles, snot, oil of the joints and urine, the brain being included in the bone marrow in this version with the totality of only 31 aspects. Here is the description of development introduced by commentary in the text. Word commentary. This body, this filthy body, constructed out by 4 primary elements, up from the soles of the feet, from the soles of the feet upwards, down from the top of the hair, and from the highest point to the hair downwards, contained in the skin, terminated all around by the skin, reviews as full of many kinds of filth. He sees that his body is packed up with the filth of various kinds, beginning with the head hairs. How this body there are head hairs, urine, etc. Herein there are means that they are found. In this which is expressed thus, up from the soles of the feet and down from the top of the hair, and contained in the skin, as full of many kinds of filth, the body, the carcass, for it is the carcass that is filled with the body because of its conglomeration of filth, because such vile kuchita, things at the head hairs, etc., and the 100 disease beginning with eye disease have its own their origin. Head hairs, body hairs, these things beginning with the head hairs are 32 aspects. The construction here should be understood in this way. In this body there are head hairs, in this body there are body hairs. No one who researches throughout the whole of these fathom-long carcass, starting upwards from the soles of the feet, starting downward from the top of the head, starting from the skin all around, ever finds even miraculous atop at all beautiful in it, such as pearl, or gem, or beryl, or aloes, or saffron, or camphor, or talcum powder. On the contrary, he finds nothing but the various very malodorous, offensive, drab-looking sort of filth, consisting of the 5 of the head hairs, body hairs, and the rest. Hence, it is said, it is in this body there are head hairs, body hairs, urine, etc. This is the commentary on the word construction here. Development number 48. Now a clansman who as a beginner wants to develop his meditation subject should go to the good friend of the kind already described and learn it. And the teacher who expounds it to him should tell him the 7-fold skill in learning and the 10-fold skill in giving attention. The 7-fold skill in learning. Herein, the 7-fold skill in learning should be told thus: as verbal recitation, 2 a mental recitation, 3 as to color, 4 as to shape, 5 as to direction, 6 as to location, 7 as to delimitation. 1. This meditation subject consists of giving attention to repulsiveness. Even if one is a master of a Tripitaka, the verbal recitation should still be done at the time of first giving its attention. For the meditation subject only becomes evident to some throughout recitation, as it did to the 2 elders who learned the miraculous subject from the elder Mahak Deva of the hill county, Malaya. On being there asked for the meditation subject, it seems the elder gave the rest of the meditation, gave rest of the 32 aspects, saying, do only this recitation for 4 months. Although they were familiar respectively with these 2 or 3 Pitakas, it was only at the end of the 4 months recitation of the meditation subject that they became stream enterers with right apprehension of the text. So the teacher also expounds the meditation subject, should tell the pupil to do so, do the recitation verbally first. Now, when he does recitation, he should divide it up into skin, pentat, etc., and do it forwards and backwards. And after having head hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, skin, he should repeat it backwards. Skin, teeth, nails, body hairs, head hairs. Next to that, with the kidney, pentat, after saying flesh, sinew, bone, bone marrow, kidney, he should repeat it backwards. Kidney, bone, marrow, bones, sinew, flesh, skin, teeth, nails, body hairs, and head hairs. Next, with the light pentat, after saying heart, liver, midriff, spleen, lights, he should repeat it backwards. Lights, spleen, midriff, liver, heart, kidney, marrow, bone, bones, sinews, flesh, skin, teeth, nail, body hairs, and head hairs. Next, with the brain pentat, after saying bowels, entrails, gorge, dung, and brain, he should repeat it backwards. Brain, dung, gorge, entrails, bowels, light, spleen, midriff, liver, heart, kidney, bone marrow, bones, sinews, teeth, skin, teeth, nails, body hairs, and head hairs. Next, with the fat sestat, after saying bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, he should repeat it backwards. Fat, sweat, blood, pus, phlegm, bile, brain, dung, gorge, entrails, bowels, lights, spleen, midriff, liver, heart, kidney, bone marrow, bones, sinews, flesh, skin, teeth, nails, body hairs, head hairs. Next, with the urine sestat, after saying tears, grease, spittle, snot, all of the joints, urine, it should repeat it backwards. Urine, oil of the joints, snot, spittle, grease, tears, fat, sweat, blood, pus, phlegm, bile, brain, dung, gorge, entrails, bowels, lights, spleen, midriff, liver, heart, kidney, bone, marrow, bones, sinews, flesh, skin, teeth, nails, body hairs, head hairs. The recitation should be done verbally in this way 100 times, 1,000 times, even 100,000 times. For it is through verbal recitation, after the meditation subject becomes familiar, then the mind being thus prevented from running here and there, the parts become evident and seem like the finger or the pair of the clasped palms, like a row of fence posts. 2. The mental recitation should be done just as it is done verbally, for the verbal recitation is a condition for the mental recitation, and the mental recitation is a condition for the penetration of the characteristics of foulness. As to the color of the head hairs, etc., should be defined. 4. As to the shape should be defined too. As to the direction, in this body, upwards from the navel is the upward direction, and downwards downwards from it is the down inward direction. So the direction should be defined as thus. This part is in this direction. As to location, the location of this or that part should be defined thus. This part is established in this location. As to the delimitation, there are two kinds of delimitation, that is delimitation of the similar and delimitation of the dissimilar. Hence, herein, delimitation of the similar should be understood in this way. This part of the delimited above and below and around by this. Delimitation of the dissimilar should be understood as non-intermixedness In that way, here the head hairs are not body hairs, and body hairs are not head hairs. When the teacher tells the skill in learning the 7 ways thus, he should do so by knowing what is the certain suttas. This meditation subject is expounded from the point of view of repulsiveness, and in certain sutras from the point of view of elements. For an Mahakatsatapaditana Sutta, it is expounded only as a repulsiveness. In the Mahatipadomana Sutta, in the Maharahula Vadana Sutra, and Dhatu Vivanga Sutta, it is expounded as elements. And in the Kayagata Sati Sutta, however, 4 jhanas are expounded with the reference to one to whom it has appeared as a color kasina, where herein it is in an insight meditation subject that is expounded as elements, and the serenity meditative object that is expounded on repulsiveness. Consequently, it is only the serenity meditation subject that is relevant here. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much, everyone. Ocean of Buddha descended, Herenda Mahayana Jiji, whatever merit I have, may because then levels to hold the Mahayana Jiji. Courage, manjus renewed, as a manda badra de la following how the example, sorry, I got mixed up. So we conclude there with tonight's teaching. Thank you very much.